Hare Krishna. On the occasion of Gita Jayanti, let us consider the life-affirming and enriching message of the Bhagavad Gita by contemplating on three of its core teachings and how it brings a positive vision to our life, our endeavors, and our understanding of divinity. These three comprise an acronym LED. Just as a LED light can illuminate an area, like that, our heart and our life journey can be illuminated by understanding the Gita's vision of these three things. Life, the Bhagavad Gita explains, is inherently sacred. The value of our life does not come from how much the world values our life. Often, when somebody is not very famous or popular or successful, and the world doesn't consider them to be very important, they may start thinking, what is the use of my life? And sometimes such thoughts can lead one to depression and inferiority complex and even suicide. However, the Bhagavad Gita tells us that the value of our life comes not from the external valuation of that life by others or even by ourselves. The value of our life comes from our intrinsic identity of who we are at our core. We are spiritual beings, and therefore our life has inherent dignity to it. This is the first teaching of the Bhagavad Gita when it declares in 2.17 that everything about us can be destroyed by the world, but the core of who we are can never be destroyed. We often look at our life and value it based on the gifts that we have in our life. Do we have health? Do we have wealth? Do we have fame? Do we have education? Do we have followers? But instead, we need to focus on not the gifts in life, but the gift of life. After we have understood the value of life based on our spiritual identity, then the Gita emphasizes the value of our endeavor, giving us a positive vision that our endeavors matter, even when they don't seem to. This is the implication of the well-known verse of the Bhagavad Gita 247. Karmanneva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That ours is not to ask what we will get out of our endeavor. Ours is to ask, how much am I putting in as my endeavor? Now this may seem to be almost unfair. Why should we not ask about the results? However, the point is that the Gita gives us a very inclusive and affirmative vision of life through its teachings of karma. It explains that our present actions are not alone the determiners of the results that we get. The results come from a complex combination of our present actions and our past actions. Just as when we treat someone politely right now and they are rude with us, that's not just because our politeness is of no use. That may be because we might have been rude to them in the past. Maybe we don't even remember how and when we were rude to them. But their response to our actions is not determined by our present actions alone. Seen from this perspective, the worldview of karma is less a worldview of judgment and more a worldview of encouragement. It is not that because of some unknown things we have done in the past, our life is going to be messed up right now. The emphasis is that no matter how futile our endeavors seem to be right now, they are not futile. Our actions always matter, even if they don't seem to matter at present. We are just going through some negative karma phase right now, because of which the results are not manifesting. We might be putting in an endeavor of 100 and we might be getting a result of only 10. That's because there is a negative phase of minus 90 that we are dealing with right now. So that may seem unfair, but we can also think of times when we put in an endeavor of 10 and we got a result of 100. That's when a plus 90 from the past came in. So life may be unfair, but it is fairly unfair. And we can be fair to ourselves even when life seems to be unfair by valuing our endeavor and endeavoring wholeheartedly. And lastly, the Gita gives us a positive vision of divinity, that God is not somewhere up there far away demanding that we do this and punishing us if we don't do this or that. Rather, God is right inside us. He is not subjecting us to life's troubles. He is strengthening us to go through and grow through life's troubles. Mat chittaha sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. If we become conscious of Him, He will help us by His grace to cross over all these obstacles that we may face in our life. What does becoming conscious of Him mean? It doesn't just mean turning away from the world and spending our entire life simply in passive prayer. It means understanding that God has a plan for this world and that we are all parts of God's plan for the world. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatana. Each one of us is an eternal and precious part of God. And therefore, each one of us has an eternal and precious part in His plan for the world. When we develop service attitude, seva bhav, thinking in every situation, not why is this happening to me and why is this not working out, but asking, oh Lord, how can I serve you in this situation? Which at a practical level translates into the question, oh Lord, how can I act to make things better in this situation? Because after all, He is our greatest well-wisher and He wants the best for us. Then we will be able to find some or the other way to move ahead through even the darkest of situations. And in the due course of time, we'll realize how through those difficulties, God has brought us to a better place externally and God has made us a better person internally. Thus, by understanding this positive vision of life and endeavor and divinity, it was Arjuna who was dejected at the start of the Gita, became enlivened. Just as Arjuna raised his bow that he had cast aside at the start of the Gita, similarly, we too can raise our metaphorical bows and become confident by understanding the wisdom of the Gita. To summarize, in essence, the Gita tells us that God is with us and let us be with God by declaring, as did Arjuna at the end of the Gita, Karishye vachanam tava, I will do your will. Thank you.